And we're live. We are live with another BS Busters podcast. This podcast, the main topic is going to be about retro collecting, but we also have some lost topics that fell in the back seat last week. So we're gonna hit those lost topics first, and then we'll just keep it rolling. So Triple M has a topic that he wants to bring up that we'll discuss, talk about, maybe bitch about. I don't know. Maybe throw down a flight of steps, try to drown, whatever. So go ahead, Triple M.
It's me, Mario. Oh snap! That doesn't coincide with my avatar. Oh crap! So,
It works.
Okay.
It works.
that's a failed, right? It's a failed. Yeah, but anyway, yes. On to it. Yeah. Now I actually wanted to prepare myself for this topic, but because I was basically knocked out for the past 2 days, this might be a bit awkward. So let's see what I can do. Yeah, what I can remember. All right. There's a YouTuber out there that I very much enjoyed to watch his videos and all the topics he brings up. By the name of Jagos, yeah. Shameless plug for the win right there. Now he's bringing up some series of interesting topic about how there's some Western companies, well, heck, even some Eastern companies are actually diverging their finance / workloads / outsource in China, and it didn't exactly dawn to me until I recently found out that that film based on the game World of Warcraft, which is just Warcraft, even though it actually bombed in the in the Western box office, but it did pretty darn well in China. Although I'm not sure if it'll actually gets its profit from there, because from what I've seen, read, or heard so far, that it was mostly from China that this film was basically made.
Yeah, so it's kind of like they're stealing from themselves to pay for themselves, because it was made, like a lot of the animation and stuff and artwork was done in China. So it's like they're paying themselves to it's like they're paying themselves to watch the movie. They're advertising it to do well in China, but it probably if you just look at China, it probably made its money back, but it probably didn't do too well. I know it didn't do well here in America. I don't know,
Which it was kind of surprising to me, because we would have a lot more World of Warcraft fans over here would actually make it a success, but apparently that's not the case.
Yeah, they didn't like it. They were like, nah, not really into the World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm being facetious. I don't know, man. It could be awesome.
I'm actually face palming here because I'm kind of perturbed because I really thought it was gonna do well here here in the West, but well, go figure. But
well, had they done a World of Warcraft movie 10 years ago, maybe, but people have lost interest with that franchise. Like, it's just steadily people have been losing interest with that franchise. So
yeah, it kind of coincides with the whole the subscribers.
Yeah,
that's been dwindling for years now.
And this movie isn't even based on World of Warcraft. It's based on the original Warcraft series. So,
Oh snap! Okay, okay. Now,
Yeah, now you know why. Now you know. Now you know why I didn't do too well. Because most of the people, like, okay, I played the original Warcraft. Most of these people did not. So that should tell you why. Hey, Warcraft 1, 2, and 3.
but yeah. Now going back to the whole doing business with China. Um, yeah. Has the PS4 has Sony's PS4 is already in Chinese markets, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not doing too well.
uh, okay. And what about Microsoft's Xbox One?
Yeah, it's not doing too well in China either. I mean, it's there, but it's it's
Okay, yeah, it's there just to exist.
well, I mean, it's about look. China likes the Xbox One about as much as the Japanese like the Xbox One, which I don't have screen share on, but I could find that picture they have of that one dude in line to get an Xbox One.
Oh,
That
please.
one guy, like that one guy when he launched in Japan, he's like, "Why are you getting an Xbox One?" I like Halo, like he was defending it, like he got caught stealing cookies in the cookie jar. That was funny, man. I was laughing at that shit.
Well, I don't mind if he's actually a Halo fan, so yeah. But yeah, interesting enough, even though that Jago's brought up some articles or some links and read about that most of the gaming industry is actually putting resources in China, but it's kind of okay. Should I use the word odd? No. For the lack of a better word, let's just yeah. It's kind of odd that even though we already have two out of the three console manufacturers actually in the Chinese market, but for some reason Nintendo has yet to do business with China, or at least in an official capacity.
Well, you know why, right?
Yeah, the whole piracy thing.
Yeah, I mean, because like look, they already have created. Ironically, with Red, those people who were helping Keiji Inafune make his Red Ash game, apparently, like they're actually coming up with like they have like a Android based console that looks like a PS4 and has an Xbox One style controller. like you release something in China, within a day they're gonna have bootlegs of it. So I mean, for Sony and Microsoft, them putting money into the Chinese market, yeah, there's a huge untapped Chinese market, but it probably isn't like what they think they're going to get out of it. Like, they haven't cracked the code to that market yet. They haven't.
Yes. Also, I forgot to mention now the reason why these big name companies, or should I say, publishers, reason why they're the other reason why that Jacobs brought up, why these companies are putting resources in China, is because the flourish of the mobile market in over there.
Oh yeah, I mean, really, if you have a game on on a mobile or on a PC, it does relatively well in China. What doesn't do well in China are apparently dedicated gaming consoles. I mean, unless you want a knockoff, unless you want your console to get knocked off in the gray market, where they just knock it off, create a bootleg. So,
but who's to say? And actually, I use the word outsource. Now, who's to say that these companies like Sony, Microsoft, even Nintendo, whenever they feel like it, or these third-party publishers, heck, even any developers would outsource of making
Game
a game
development?
in. Excuse me.
Game development? Would they outsource game development into
Yes.
China?
Yes.
Maybe
Outsource
Sony.
gaming to China and then-
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
Sony.
go
would
on.
do it. No, maybe Sony would do it. Definitely maybe Sony. Maybe Microsoft. Maybe like a Japanese. I mean, a China only game. Because who better to know the Chinese market than Chinese developers? But I don't see Nintendo giving anything to anyone in China. I mean, look, you saw how long it took them to make a development studio for America, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, Nintendo's like a dude giving his daughter away letting their daughter have unsupervised date with their boyfriend. They're like, look, man, you see these eggs, and then crush them in front of the dude, being like, if you do anything to my daughter, that's what's gonna happen to you. Like a pair of eggs and crushing them in there. That's basically how Nintendo is with their IPs. I don't see them. They might contract with a third party or a third party developer in China, but I mean, I don't know if, I mean, like Nintendo has such strict standards. That half-ass bullshit that Chinese developers do, would it fly?
Probably not.
I mean, well, wait a second. They could always go with those people who made that Splatoon knockoff.
Oh gosh.
That Splatoon knockoff was just the tits. I'm being
Speaking about knockoff, that we Red already mentioned about Splatoon, but then we have some knockoffs of Overwatch and even Smash Brothers, which is kind of like a card-based game.
I just find it amazing that they're always stealing people's stuff. Like like China wants to be taken seriously. You got to stop stealing people's shit. I'm just saying, you can't like I'm not gonna really have any, like, if you're Nintendo, you have no impetus to put any money into people who every time you come up with something, they steal your shit. Because Nintendo does not like piracy. I mean, that's one of the reasons they stayed with the cartridge format, because they didn't want people stealing their shit.
Until they can't profit out of them anymore.
Yeah, but they still made money on the N64.
Yeah, until they make the next generation games.
And then they made GameCube games, and those games were really hard to profit, even though third parties will say, "Oh, we can't help this because there's many discs." Lying motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying. It's with Nintendo, it's just they're just a very like, they like to keep shit where they can control it, and if they did something in China, they couldn't control it, and Nintendo doesn't like not being in control. That's just how they roll. They don't like not being in control. They're one of those companies.
But you know, speaking about that Smash Brothers card game knockoff, for some reason this just dawned on me. We were watching the Bethesda's E3 conference, and they brought out those card games from, it was Oblivion, right?
You mean that new card game based on Elder Scrolls? I forgot the name of it, but it's based on Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. Would you believe or think that Bethesda made those card games just so they could penetrate the Chinese market?
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, here's the thing. It could work. It could not work. The thing about China is that the Chinese market is, like, okay, if you look at the numbers, China looks like it's, in their head, they're like, man, if we can get in the Chinese market. What people don't realize is that a lot of people what?
I was going to say rural areas.
Yeah, a lot of China is fucking poor. Like,
too.
like these people are really poor, and so you know, and they have more. I mean, yeah, you got people. I mean, yeah, you got people who are like, well, you know, we can sell this and it's gonna make so much money and we're gonna make all this cash, but they don't seem to realize that a lot of the people in China are like a lot of people in China, what for them is like, I'm surviving, I'm making ends meet, is still not a lot of money. Like they, like in their head, they're thinking they're going to get all this disposable income. Like home consoles, like if you live in a room that's the size of a cell, and that's like an apartment in China, that's like you're living big if you live in a room that's the size of 8 feet by 6 feet. Like you're balling. But the thing is, I mean, like they might get paid $100 a month, okay? And like they might have to spend 50 of that in rent. And the other 50 they have to live on, right? And it's like they're not, I mean, like console makers are not having, if anyone could have a good way to do well in China, it would be Nintendo. But the thing is like the big N is just not, they're not quite, like they don't want their shit getting pirated, because everything that's released in China within a day, and I know I said that kind of jokingly, people are like, oh, you're just bullshit. No, literally everything you see in China within a day, they will have found a way to create a knockoff of it. Electronic, like they're you can buy a knockoff. Like I spent $10 on an Xbox controller. It is a Chinese knockoff, and it literally stopped working within 2 weeks.
Wait, it stopped working
within 2 weeks.
Wow.
Okay, and that's Chinese knockoff. I got a Chinese knockoff because on my old laptop that was dying, well, it didn't die. The charger died. So I got a Chinese knockoff charger. I didn't know it was a Chinese knockoff charger at the time. This was just my mistake. And I literally, like, it died in a month.
Oh, Red, you there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was I thought my laugh was disturbing you.
No, it, like, literally my shit died. My shit died in a month. I mean, this is what happens when you this is what happens. I mean, and this is China. I mean, you know, and here's the thing. It's gotten better. Their shitty shoddy ass knockoffs have gotten better, but they're still pretty damn bad. They're still pretty shitty. So, you know, I find it amusing when people are like, no man, China, you know, China, they're the next booming market. Like, what are you smoking? Do you know how poor people are in China? Like, seriously, do you know how poor people are in China? People are fucking broke in China. It's scary how broke some of those people are.
You know, now I have given Bethesda a flack for even making such card game based off of Elder Scrolls, but if they can actually pull this off, I gotta give them props for it.
Yeah, here's hoping that this game isn't as buggy and broken as their other titles.
Oh snap! I totally forgot about that. You don't. Oh yeah, I'm docking points on that if it comes out buggy and broken.
Because this is Bethesda, man. If you held their arms behind their back and said, "Make a complete game, or else we will kill you," a lot of Bethesda people would have to die because they couldn't do it. I don't think they could physically make a complete video game. release a game that's not a broken piece of shit. They couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, now here's the thing here. Now, going back to Nintendo. Now, till now, yes, Nintendo has not released their consoles or the games or handhelds in China. But would you expect that this coming generation Nintendo might do it if they actually figure out the quirks and fix some kinks so that the Chinese market doesn't basically rip them off?
Yeah, so people don't steal their shit. I think that Nintendo just might. Yes, I got another one of those sons of bitches. I think what I think Nintendo is going to do is this. In the Chinese market, because we're already seeing it. I think they're going to come out with a 3DS this fall just for the Chinese market. Either a 3DS or a 2DS just for the Chinese market that has Pokemon. Because Pokemon is big. And I think Pokemon's going to be their in. Because Pokemon is innocuous. It's not really offensive to anybody unless you're one of those Southern churchgoers that thinks that the idea of things evolving is evil. In which, if you're one of those people, I can't help you. But for the average consumer,
average consumer. What kind of average consumer? The very low income. If we're talking about China.
Well, I mean, for China, okay, let me put it this way. If they can come up with a 2DS style bundle for because here's the thing. While there are a lot of poor people in China, there's a lot of people who are used to Pokemon. Because remember when Nintendo changed, they're like, well, we changed the name to something that's more fitting with the Chinese language. And they got mad because they've already been exposed to it. There's a fan base there that really wants to play this game. So basically, unlike Bethesda that's trying to get into that market, these people are aware of their IPs and they want in. They just want a more accessible version. So if they come up with a 2DS bundle, just for China, low budget, but you can play Pokemon, that shit's gonna sell gangbusters. They might, but I mean, they don't want their shit getting stolen and pirated, and that's what Nintendo. Because Nintendo's looking long term, they're like, okay, if we go with you too easy, you're gonna steal our shit because that's what you guys do. You steal other people's shit, and I mean, I don't want to see Nintendo shit get stolen. I mean, just like I wouldn't want my own shit getting stolen, I wouldn't want to see Nintendo shit get stolen because I've played some knockoffs of Nintendo properties from China that are like, you guys are shameless. You need help.
I don't know. Probably the Chinese guardians of the economic state over there needs to ramp up their rules or oh crap, I forgot the word.
Regulations.
Yes, they really need to set forth in action with their regulations.
But they're not gonna, because here's the thing, like they can't, like, okay, you can stamp down on a few of them, but even if you stamp down on a few of them, they're always like, when it comes to the gray market and the black market in China, they're always gonna,
yeah, they always pop up. Like you slice the dragon's head and two more revitalized.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do. You're just gonna get it.
But hey, at least it actually gives the Chinese some work to do, some official work to do.
They just keep on stealing people's shit. Stop stealing. Look, I mean, whatever. Those people work their ass off. They work so hard that some of them want to get out of it by jumping off of the top floor factories to the concrete below to escape how hard they have to work. But China's fine. The people are happy working so hard that the only way they can escape is by jumping out of windows and killing themselves. That's just, that's the perfect economy, says certain people.
Now, working hard for very, very low wages.
I mean, for wages that would insult the average person. But hey, man, fuck them.
It would actually insult me.
They're Chinese, so fuck them. I'm being facetious. I was using sarcasm and irony in order to illustrate a point. But yeah, I think the Chinese market could grow.
But you know what? Speaking about that, I guess this is a great segue to go on an article that popped up recently. I got this one from Nintendo Everything, and basically shows an update list of the average amount of workers at Nintendo, which is roughly around 5,000, around 5,100 employees at Nintendo, and people are actually shocked
that they can do all the shit they do with a little over 5,000 people. And don't forget, they've been hiring. They used to be like lower than.
Well, not in such a positive light. More like I've seen comment sections saying that they're shocked that it's that less of employees that's working at Nintendo.
Well, yeah, they're a small company.
Which I can understand for the whole shock.
I mean, for as much of an impact Nintendo has on like other businesses in the like for as big as an impact Nintendo has in the video game industry, they're not a big company. Like Microsoft has thousands of people working for the Xbox division, and they can't make a profitable console to save their ass. Like, they can't do it. Sony has thousands of people working for the like more people than Nintendo, yet they can't make a console. They can't make a profitable console, but Nintendo can with 5,000 people. Over 5,000 people, sorry.
And reason why I say it, I can see it's understandable that people are shocked at this, but they're looking at this more as in, oh, this is the reason why Nintendo is not pumping enough games on their consoles. Mind you, they keep specifically mentioning the console as in the Wii U.
Really?
But you know what? Here's the thing, and this is going to be sarcastic. So you want Nintendo to pump out more games, but then for some reason people are forgetting that some of the third-party publishers said that they can't compete with Nintendo on their console. So now you're asking for Nintendo to hire more people to make more amount of games, so you can basically let third parties have more excuse to say, you see, Nintendo is making so much games that we can't even get our games penetrating their own market share. So double-edged sword right there.
I mean, it does sound like bullshit. Just saying.
And on top of that, if you just want Nintendo grow for the sake of just growing, might probably have the same situation, which is with third-party companies, as they got so many employees under their belt, and there's a lot of miscommunications going on. As in fact, with all of the most of the games that came out, broken, buggy, glitchy. Oh, Now, yes, I can understand. You guys would want Nintendo to pump out more games, and especially on the Wii U or on the console the console side. But it has to be uh, strategically grown, kind of like what Liga said. Doesn't have um, uh, um, doesn't have to grow for the sake of grow, but maybe hey, hire enough people um, uh, to port third party games if the publishers are not if the third party publishers are not doing themselves.
And that would be cheaper for them. They're like, give us the code for the game. We'll do a port. We'll add some exclusive features, and we'll call it the Wii U or the NX version. And because frankly speaking, the games that do the best on Nintendo systems are ones that utilize the unique features of the Nintendo system. Like games that are just straight up shitty ports don't do well because you can get that on other shit. For example, like Soul Calibur 2, the version, the GameCube version did really well. Why? Because it had Link. It had something that was exclusive to the system. So gamers just need to calm the fuck down.
Now, I will say this regarding to that plan. For some reason, I know it might backfire because I have a darn feeling, and this is my pessimist side that wants to bulge out, but I think I know that some of those third party publishers are going to ask Nintendo for money before they give out the codes for the specific game.
Well, I mean, like I don't know how Nintendo did it back in the day, but there were like 3 games that people said, well, this game can't do well. I mean, the most illustrious example is Resident Evil 2 for the N64, and Capcom said, well, we can't put that game on that system because it uses cartridges. And Nintendo said, that's okay, give us the code, we'll port it on there, and they got their cut. The traditional cut you get for selling your IP on a Nintendo system. And Nintendo said, yeah. And it's widely considered, Resident Evil 2 on the N64 is considered one of the best versions of that game for that gen. So, I mean,
without the upfront asking for some money, but yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure some money changed hands. I just don't know how much or how they handled it. What I'm saying is that it's not as difficult because here's the thing: Nintendo is the one. When they port it themselves, they're the ones who are handling who are doing the hard lifting. And I mean, the reason third parties say, and they're also assuming some of the risk. So whatever. It's
Yeah, assuming they would take some of the risk.
Well, they would obviously be taking some of the risk because especially back then, because they were also the ones. I think the deal for that was that they assumed the cartridge costs as well. So like if it bombed, like it would be money out of Nintendo's pocket, not on Capcom losing the money. So
yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't even know why we're talking about this, because at the end of the day, third parties, Nintendo could basically say, we will make the game for you. All you have to do, like, we won't charge anything, and third parties still like, we can't, no. Because if Nintendo's next console uses cartridges, I guarantee you, 100%, I guarantee it, third parties gonna be like, it uses cartridges. We're not familiar with that medium. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Now, speaking about porting issues, great segue for that one, for what's coming next. Now, and this is about Game Explain. I looked at at least one of their videos, and it was a video about they were talking about Sonic's 25th anniversary. You know, talk about how the franchise has been going kind of downhill lately. But at least
Yeah.
that was just Rise of Lyric.
Well, it has. I mean, I don't. Sonic has not been Sonic. If Sonic is not dead, he's on life support with an oxygen mask on.
Yeah, and talking about this soon to be announced. Well, actually, announced to be announced. Yeah, quite a conception right there. Of Sonic game that they're going to show in July. Well, this month, later this month. But there was one thing that actually got me. Oh, it featured, I think it was Kubarani 85. I forgot which number
Cobra
he had.
Mania 64.
Yes, him and some call me Johnny.
Okay.
Well, there was one thing that actually that got me a bit ticked off when one of them said, it wasn't the guest that said it's the host of the show that said this, that when he was talking about Sonic Boom Rise of the Lyric for the Wii U, basically stating his opinion as a fact that because it was running on an Unreal Engine, I forgot which version of the Unreal Engine it was.
Unreal 4. Well, no.
Oh my gosh! If it's Unreal 4, go on.
It wasn't using Unreal 4. Here, let me look it up. The engine that Sonic Boom used. Let me look it up because I don't want to. Unlike some people, I don't like saying things that aren't factually correct. What engine did?
Because he was actually using another game for an example, which actually uses which he said by his own admission that uses Unreal Engine 3.
Oh no, it didn't use Unreal Engine. It used CryEngine 3, which is a pretty powerful engine. I mean, not powerful. It gets the job done. It's not perfect, but you know.
Okay, CryEngine 3. And he basically said, although he did mention Unreal Engine, maybe it's just his mistake, but I digress. He basically said that the Wii U couldn't handle the CryEngine 3, and I'm like, I'm looking at. I remember that I've seen the footage of Rise of the Lyric actually being played on the Wii U, even with its old buggy, glitchy mess. I'm like, okay, if it really can't if the Wii U really can't handle CryEngine 3, then that game shouldn't. Then Sonic Rise of the Lyric shouldn't even be made with that engine. And also keep in mind that Big Red Button was actually rushed to make that game.
Yeah, they had to make it in less than a year. So I mean,
I would actually bet that game, even on CryEngine 3, would have run smoothly on the Wii U if Big Red Button actually had time to optimize. Oh my gosh, there goes the dirty word, but it feels so good saying it. But yeah, optimize for the Wii U.
Well, you're right, but I mean, optimization. We've said this before. It's a dirty word. It's a dirty word you said there, man.
Yeah, and on top of that, he actually threw in Mighty Number 9, just because that game basically bricks the Wii some of the Wii U's, and he stated that that game was running on Unreal Engine 3.
Yeah, but the reason that game.
Okay, and I'm like, dude, you chose two games that were really not optimized in the first place.
Exactly. I mean,
if the Wii U really couldn't handle the CryEngine 3 or the Unreal Engine 3, then my goodness, we shouldn't even have Metroid Prime being made on a modified Unreal Engine.
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, I think we can all agree that, like, a lot of people are saying shit and they don't know what they're talking about. And that's one of the problems with gaming nowadays is people saying things and not knowing what the fuck they're talking about. They just say things and they like, I don't know. I don't know. You know, maybe, Nintendo can't handle the Unreal Engine. Well, I mean, like, here's my problem with someone saying, well, the reason that the Wii U can't handle Unreal Engine is because of Mighty Number 9. That game, look, listen, I have that game on PC. That game is unoptimized for everything. It stinks on the PS4. It stinks on the Xbox One in terms of like technical like frame rate and stuff like that. It stinks on the Wii U, but that's not because the game itself is bad or that the systems are weak. It's because of bad coding. It was not optimized on anything except PC, and even then, it has major slowdown issues, which wouldn't be an issue if I didn't have a really fucking powerful PC.
So by those admission alone, that what this dude was saying was clearly bullocks.
Yeah.
It was Andre's partner. Forgot his name too.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, they don't know. See here, like I said before, it's not that I don't like people saying stupid shit. It's that if you're gonna say some stupid shit, come correct. You know what I'm saying? Like, have your facts ready. Like, okay, I think we can all agree that, like, because I have Mighty Number 9 on PC. Like I said, that game is unoptimized. Okay, and here's the sad thing: I don't know why it's unoptimized because they had 3 fucking years to make it. Like, literally,
and they had $4 million.
Well, I mean, $4 million in game development is not a lot of money, but like $4 million is.
There were some games that actually looked and played stellar
that were less. Than that. Yeah, but $4 million stretched out, but split between 2 studios because Concept had the money and NT Creates, who helped make the game, got paid too. Stretched out over 3 years. With like maybe let's say 60, 70 people between the 2 studios. No, maybe like 30 at NT Creates and like 10, 11, so 40 people, like a little over 40 people at Concept. That's not a lot of money. That's really not a lot of money. But I mean, that's on them though. That they made that mistake. They effed up on that one.
Yeah.
They effed up, son. I don't know what to say. They effed up. I don't know, man. They effed up.
But anyway, let's now that we get that bad taste out of our mouth, let's go to some retro gaming here.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, the other member of our podcast who was going to make it, Sprite Remix, had something pop up, and so it's just going to be me and Triple M. But that means this will go so much faster. Maybe. Gosh. I don't know. So retro gaming is one of my hobbies, and the reason I did this podcast is because I love retro gaming very much. It's one of my great loves. Okay, so before I get into it, I guess I should define how I think of retro gaming. Because you have to define something before you can describe it. Like what it is before you go into further depth into like how you feel about it, why you feel that way about it, stuff like that. So some people define retro gaming as simply playing consoles that are from an older generation. I don't do that.
With me personally, I define Well, this one of the things I define what is retro gaming is, well, if it's not being manufactured anymore, or they stop manufactured certain consoles or games, I consider that retro.
My rule of thumb is the medium. If the medium for the game is no longer heavily in use or manufactured, and therefore
Oh yeah,
makes getting that hard to get, then that for me that is a retro console. So for me, the GameCube isn't really a retro console. I know they don't make those mini discs anymore, but I'm gonna let you on a little secret, y'all. Um, I mean, well, the GameCube mini disc, you can get mini discs from certain manufacturers and burn GameCube discs, like burn GameCube ISOs onto those discs if you wanted to, and you could mod a GameCube to play those discs. It would be a hard mod, and it would void. Well, you don't have a well. I mean, Nintendo has like almost lifetime warranties with a lot of their shit, but it would void the warranty, but you could do it. So for me, the 6th gen consoles aren't really retro consoles because they use a medium that is still very much in use. Like you can still like if you scratch the hell out of a PS2 game, you could hard mod your PS2, burn a disc, burn that same game on ISO of that game onto a disc and play it. Sony lost a lot of money in China because people did that illegally. They didn't even own the original game. They just did that with their PS2s. Same thing with the Dreamcast. I know people who modified a Dreamcast to be a HD DVD. I mean, not HD. Yeah, HD DVD, a DVD player. Yeah. So I never did that to my Dreamcast because like I'm kind of I have a thing against doing weird shit to my consoles, but not everyone has that compunction, so whatever. But as I was saying,
we're too few around here.
Yeah, for me, it's just I don't like people doing weird shit to my consoles. So for me, as I was saying, for me, a retro console is something that uses a medium that's no longer widely manufactured or manufactured at all. So the N64 is a retro console. Sega Saturn, not really, because it uses discs.
But hey, probably the NX is going to be a retro console because it's been rumored that they're going to use cartridge based. But
well, with that, it's kind of like a iffy thing because they'll be manufacturing those cartridges for quite a few years. Like, plus you can plus there'll be digital forms of the game that you can get if you really, really want it. I'm guessing because they'll have downloadable versions of the title. So, I mean, for that, not really retro. Like, I mean, yeah, I can download a version of Mario 64 both legally and illegally if you're really inclined to. But is it the same? And secondly, retro gaming for me, a retro console for me is a console that, that's it. It's basically just using a medium that's no longer in wide use. So the cartridges of the Atari age, the built-in games of the age before Atari really took over, the cue cards for the TurboGrafx 16, stuff like that. That's old technology. And don't get me started with that SNES. That's like my favorite retro console. So the SNES is my favorite retro console. The king of retro consoles, in my opinion. Well, not really the king, but it's my favorite retro console. It is the retro console it's my favorite retro console.
I can't say I actually have a favorite because I love them all.
No, man, you got to choose. You got to choose one of your babies. You can't love them all equally. Well, I mean, I take that back. You're right. You shouldn't have to choose. But for me, like the retro console that I just love the most. And before I go further, the Q&A app is open. You guys can leave questions if you want to. We'll try to get to them as time permits. But for me, the retro console that I love the most, the retro console that just makes my life oh so sweet is obviously my SNES. That was the first console that I ever like got for myself. Not got for myself, that I owned, that my parents like got for me, that was mine and mine alone. I wasn't playing anyone else's. Like it was only mine. I'm telling you, man, the N64 is like that's my baby. I mean, the SNES is my baby. Like that. Like I have the most retro games for my SNES. Like I have, last time I counted, 87 SNES games. And I couldn't name them all those games off the top of my head, but all of them are games that I've enjoyed playing. So I'm lucky because a lot of people collect games they don't even like just for completion. I don't. I collect games that I want to play. Yeah, I don't collect games. Ah, man, this game's a piece of shit, but I wanted to finish my collection. No, fuck that shit. No, I'm not doing that shit right there. That I just want to complete my collection. I know people that do that, but I've never really wanted I've never wanted to play games like that where it's like, you know, I want to complete my collection of this game.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that.
I have other things to do with my time. Thank you very much.
I have other things to do with my money.
Yeah, well, yeah. For me, it's a time thing, and it's also partially a money thing. Like I just really do not want to spend that type of money on games that I'm not going to enjoy playing. Because all the games I own, I've played I've put at least 5 to 10 hours into, and like of the games that I own, I've beaten maybe, I want to say between 50 to 60% of them.
Okay.
So, but you have to remember, like my largest collection of games are SNES games. So obviously those are the ones that I'd really put a lot of time into. Clearly those are the games that So yeah. Let's see if there are any questions in the Q&A app. We have no questions. So anything you want to hear, anything you want to know about retro collecting?
Well, let's see. Now, to this day, I'm actually still trying to acquire the 3 Super Mario Brothers games on the NES.
Okay.
And I try not to go on eBay or any of those sites, but during my trip to South Florida, I actually did went to oh crap, what was it? Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the word. It was actually in a parking space of a supermarket, or no, I should say thrift store.
Swap meet?
Excuse me?
Was it a swap meet?
It probably is, but there were people lining up on the parking space, and they were actually selling stuff outdoor. And while I was walking in there, I didn't expect to actually see someone selling some Game Boy games, but to my disappointment, some of those games actually didn't even have the label on it. Like they were basically torn off. Some didn't even have a label at all. So
that's a little suspect.
Yeah,
that's a little, hey man, I'm a little. That's a little shady, son. Little shady.
So I'm guessing that would be a probable sign that you might stay away from this seller.
They might be trying to scam you. Yeah. For me, the retro game that I've been trying, and I call it my trifecta, and my trifecta is basically like right now I have the Donkey Kong Country Weekend Edition, which is basically like the co-op competitive version that they had at various stores back in the day. I have the Star Fox Championship Edition, which is basically like the demo unit that had the competitive mode in it. And I want to get the Super Mario competitive mode, Super Mario World competitive mode game, but the competitive mode demo, but it's really expensive. It's like $300 and I can never find it. So, yeah. So one day if it goes on sale, I'll get it and I'll complete my trifecta of competitive games. Then I'll hook up I'll bring my SNES to one of my establishments and have a little SNES tournament, and it'll be the competitive games, and we'll see who's the king. I think I'll be the king because I've played these games so damn much, but we shall see.
Now, I'm not sure if this would be a wise choice, but I do remember some of the Donkey Kong Land Game Boy games. The cartridge is actually colored yellow, but
yeah,
I did not see any colored Game Boy cartridges from this fellow. So it kind of made it even much more difficult. But to be honest, I at the time I really did wish I brought my Game Boy Color just to test out some of those games, see if they actually work, or see if they're actually not cartridges from Japan, anyway, imported.
Well, I mean, they were in the initial run of those games, the initial cartridge run, they were yellow, but then they also released gray versions after the fact. Yeah. But if you played them in a color Game Boy, they'd still have the colors and stuff on the inside. Or in a Super Game Boy, you got like unique borders and shit. It was the same game. It just you know. It's just, I mean, that's the thing I've kind of noticed about about some games that I've collected, that I've gone for, is like there are different versions. Like there's 3 different versions of Final Fight. The original Final Fight on the SNES. There's Final Fight 1.1, 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. 1.0 is slightly easier. 1.1 is slightly harder, and 1.2 is kind of like the most well balanced one. So it just depends on what you like, whatever works for you.
Ah, did not know that. Okay, I'll definitely keep that in mind.
But yeah, there's all types of cool shit.
I do remember that there was. I've seen some NES games as well that this fellow was selling, although there wasn't even one NES game that he had that I was even willing to look at.
Yeah, that's one of the things that basically, like for me, I never really tried to collect NES games because they were just too much bullshit, too much aggravation, too many people doing weird shit. I stay away from SNES games because people get weird.
Really get weird?
Yeah, they get weird.
Could you give me an example?
Well, for me, like I've never been into NES collecting. Like I have an NES and I have a Famicom, but most of my collecting for that system, like I went to like swap meets like early on, and like if I saw a game I liked, I'd get it, and then or if they had like here's $50 and here's like 20 games. Like I would look through, and if I saw a game I liked, I would like say, "Hey man, can I get this one game?" And I'll give you like $10 for it. And that's how I got some of the games.
No.
Like I didn't do like, because some people take that NES collecting stuff way too far. Like it gets creepy sometimes. So I never went to that level.
Oh, I see. That to be honest, I actually hate the kind that you have to when you get one that they're actually telling you no, it's $20 for these 10 games. And I'm like, I never like buying in bulk.
I can understand it. For me personally, I don't like collecting. It's not even that. It's just the NES market is so big right now, and people just, the way people charge you for NES games is just like it's kind of ridiculous. So I tried to stay away from it. I don't collect NES games. Like I have a decent array of NES games. Like I have Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3. I have Legend of Zelda games. Yeah, I have those games.
Yeah, would you sell me those games?
No, I will not sell you those games. I don't sell my collection. People have asked me, they're like, hey man, sell me that Earth. You can sell that Earthbound. Why would I do that? I'm not that hard up for money. I am not that desperate. I am not that desperate for money that I have to sell my shit. You know what I mean? So for me, that's just my own personal.
Okay, now I'll put an example for a game like okay, let's go with the original Super Mario Brothers. No, wait, the two games in one cartridge, like the one for Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. How much do you expect that they would sell for, or people would sell you for?
Well, I mean, the thing is that Super Mario Brothers
In a swap meet.
I don't have the dual cart for Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. I have the original, just Super Mario Brothers. Well, I do have that dual thing, but I don't really play that one very often. I have the original just by itself, Super Mario Brothers. For me personally, like if I sold my Super Mario Brothers trilogy and the Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt game, if I sold those are actually relatively common. Like you can get those relatively easily. So you're looking at $35 to $40 a piece for all of them. I mean, they aren't like, that's not really expensive, because I've seen games for the NES go for like $60, $70, $80 for some of the rarer shit that people don't want to. Yeah, it depends on how common something is and how high the market has been driven up by people wanting that one game.
Of course.
I don't buy that one game. Like that's the thing. I tell people this. I'm like, look, stop buying just that one damn game, because you're just gonna hurt yourself. You know who I'm talking about. The people like, man, I gotta have this one game. Don't do that. Don't get the one game. Save yourself. Do not get the one game.
Well, for me, I wanted 3 games, at least.
Like that one game that just people just for some reason just will never let go.
And I would have killed himself for.
You know who I'm talking about? That one game. I'm not a one game guy. Like I don't do that one game. Like if I don't get the weekend edition of the competitive, the tournament edition of Super Mario World, I'm not gonna be like, damn it, I didn't get this game, these bastards. Like I don't have that type of
yes, it's not like the world's gonna end.
I mean, I know people that were like that. I'm not that dude. I'm literally not that dude. I'm not that guy.
Now, would you say some cartridges like the Donkey Kong Land for the Game Boy that actually has a colored cartridge? Would you expect colored cartridges would be more expensive than the original gray ones?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Not really. Colored cartridges. Colored cartridges aren't really rare. They aren't. People think colored cartridges are rare, but they really aren't. It doesn't affect rarity unless it was such a limited run that it makes a difference. Like the N64 Clay Fighter 63 and 3/3 and 3/4 or something like that, 3/4, some shit like that. That game is really rare, but it's not rare because it has a colored case, which is actually supposed to be a semi-clear blue shell. It's rare because it had a very low run and it didn't sell that well, and they didn't buy a lot of cartridges. So it's like if you were to get that game, it'd be expensive because it just there's not a lot. It's more about supply, not about like color of cartridges. Because I mean, think about it. Like the Legend of Zelda carts almost exclusively are always gold, right?
Yes.
But that doesn't really mean anything. You know, I mean, if you come in with a gold N64 game, unless it's like one of those solid gold ones, which no one will ever sell a solid gold N64 game, or any solid gold game whatsoever. But I mean, if you came in,
they pass it down. That pass it down to family.
maybe, but they're definitely not going to sell it. You know, I mean that doesn't really. When it comes to collecting, it's about rarity and perceived value, not like this thing is gold. It's gonna mean so much. No, it's gold plastic, motherfucker, and it's not gonna mean anything. It's just perceived. It's perceived rarity, not rarity itself. For me personally, the rarest game that I own aside from Earthbound is let's see. I have a Little Samson, but that's the Famicom version of Little Samson. So it's much easier to get your hands on. So that's the rarest. Those are the two rarest games I own. Everything else I have, while it has high value as a playable game, I don't own any like ultra rare. Like there's only 5,000 carts of this in the wild. I don't have one of those. Thank God. Now that would kill me.
Now I'm a collector that would like to have the whole pack, the whole thing, as in the game itself, the package, the instruction book, and all that snazzy. But I know that there's going to be a time that I'm not going to have
unrealistic.
I'm not going to have all of that for the specific game that I want to get. So yeah, I'll probably just have to get the card itself.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of unreal, because nowadays they don't even really like. Back in the day, they would sell you the loose cart and the booklet, or the loose cart and the packaging. You can't even find the booklet anymore, and the packaging that Nintendo used back in the day was so flimsy that no one kept it.
Yeah, I will say the packaging for the NES cartridges, those were definitely flimsy. I have the NES version of Dr. Mario with packaging, instruction booklet, the whole 9 yards. But man, I am having trouble actually keeping that package in its original state.
Yeah, I mean that's just the way that system. That's just the way Nintendo was. They pinched pennies back then. You know?
Yeah, and the thing is, I wouldn't mind that, but how the package was folded, at least for the NES package, it was so flimsy. The bottom side keeps opening.
Yeah, I mean. for me personally, I never really cared much for there's only like 3 games that I still have the packaging for: Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, and what was the other one? Super Castlevania 4. That's it. The rest of it, I have nothing for. It's ridiculous.
I would say the reason why I would also go for the packaging is just because of the artworks on the box art itself.
Yeah. I mean, if you're into the artworks, because for me, a lot of the artwork that they had on SNES games and even N64 games had fuck all to do with the actual game. Like Mega Man.
Yeah, the infamous Mega Man.
like Mega Man, or for the SNES Phalanx, which has this old guy playing a banjo on the cover, but the actual game is like a side-scrolling shoot 'em up, space shooter in the veins of Gradius or something like that. So it's like this artwork is cool, but damn, like, and now you can repro labels. Like if you have a color printer, you can repro a label, look at it all day, or save the image and really look at it in high def if you really want to. I mean, for me, searching for certain games and like I never was really into trying to get like the complete package, just because like a lot of games, first of all, it drives up the price. Like trying to get a complete package of certain games is just like something that the loose cart by itself would probably cost you $40-$50. Now it's up to $150, $200, and it makes it impractical for collecting. For me, I don't really go for that. For me, the things that I want to go for is because when I game retro, I want to game. For me, retro gaming is gaming as close to the original, to the way the game was meant to be played as possible. So that means playing on the hardware with the controller on a CRT TV. That's as close as you can get to the original way that game was supposed to be played.
Yeah.
So for me, that's my go-to method of playing certain. Like when I think about playing old school game, that's like for retro gaming. That's for me. Which kind of segues nicely into our second topic. When is it okay to emulate? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I've said this before, but the only way that I would emulate a game is, well, if the game itself has not been has ceased to manufacture, or the existence of the physical product itself doesn't exist anymore, or for some godforsaken reason, people just smashed all the remaining existence to smithereens. Yeah, that's one. Two, if the copy of the game is not released in your region, and you're not the type to go and import it, or you just don't know the language of the origin of that game is, so yeah, I would say yeah, emulate the hell out of it. But if that game is on the market or in your region that you can legitimately obtain, then
don't do it.
No reason to emulate. Unless you're a freaking cheap bastard.
Unless you ain't got the money, it's all right. For me personally, I think I follow a similar view to yours. For me, emulation is okay if you can't get that game through ordinary means. Now, what does ordinary means mean? Well, okay. Ordinary means is like, okay, you can't get it. Like it's not like the price of it is too high. Like if you want to get a physical version of Earthbound, you're talking $80 loose by itself. The average consumer is not gonna have that type of money. I'm sorry, they ain't gonna have it. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't shoot the messenger. They just are not gonna have that type of money. The average, average Joe Blow is not going to have that type of money. So,
or unless you are so butthurt that the company is actually censoring the game in any shape or form or way. I'm sorry.
Now, see, I was trying to keep it cool. I was trying to keep it cool, man. I was trying to keep it cool. And there you are. I'm just messing with you, man. I have to agree partially with what you just said. You're right.
Yeah. Look. Another thing that I actually wanted to ask about collecting, heck, even collecting the console itself. Now, I do have a Nintendo Entertainment System, but let's just say I fried my adapter for it, and ever since I've been trying to get a replacement, but the replacements of a third-party adapter, they are really not up to snuff. So I'm wondering if, well, you're in the States, so of course you guys have a lot of resources. So I'm wondering if there's any place that can actually reproduce those adapters.
If you were in Japan, I could have helped you, but basically, you might find someone who might be able to find, like, they might be able to refurb you one. You might be able to get a refurbished one if from a third party refurbisher might be able to refurb you one. But from where you live, you're still going to have to do shipping, handling, and the price of the refurbished one.
Now, as in refurbish, as in actually replicate the original adapter for the NES.
No, it's the original adapter. They've just refurbished it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean by refurb. Yeah, refurbished NES adapter. Yeah, they refurbished a lot of stuff. I mean, I would tell anyone this refurbished. Yeah, you can. I mean, but the thing is like it's kind of like, here. I'll link you something that you might be able to. Yeah, you can get an original for $9.99 US.
That's not bad. That's about that's like almost amount 20 in my region, but
yeah, I mean that's not. Yeah, I mean you might be able to swing that, but the shipping is what might get you.
Yeah, that would kill me.
Yeah,
that would probably.
But I mean, yeah, like for me, most of the shit that I have a double of the really important component parts, so I've never had that issue. Like, because you could use the same AC adapter from your NES to your SNES, if I remember correctly. Or maybe no, you couldn't. But you could use a lot of the same component cables, and I just bought doubles for a lot of shit. So I never had that issue. But if you're trying to, there's certain websites you can go to that really can help you out with that type of stuff.
Sweet, they might actually help me out with my N64 adapter because I was too trustworthy to someone, and they literally took it away from me.
They ganked it. they ganked it. It's gone. Well, for me personally, like I said, I've never had that issue. But back to what I was saying about emulation, yeah. Look, if you can't get it through ordinary means, like you can't buy it legitimately for a reasonable price, it wasn't released in your region, or you don't understand the language and it's like it was never localized in your area, go ahead. Because there's a lot of games there are a lot of RPGs that the only way I got to play early on, like years ago, was, and they didn't even have a translation. I basically would emulate it and see, yeah, this looks like something that's interesting. Later on, as I got older, and I started making money and could travel, I would go to Japan and get these games, the Famicom versions, because that was the only version that they had. And then I would basically get it and like when they do fan translations, I'd use an EverDrive and rip it and put it on my EverDrive and play it with a fan translation. That's how I played a lot of these games. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you should emulate all the time. Preferably, if you're going to emulate, play with shit that's no longer being made, because that way you're not stealing. Because I don't think Nintendo gives a shit about SNES games now.
Yeah, unless they put it on the virtual console.
But even then, like, I mean, like, okay, if you emulate Earthbound now, Nintendo's gotten their money back from that game many times over. Same thing with Super Mario World or Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. You know, like,
well, they keep selling. They're still selling it.
They're still making money off of it, but it's not like, oh God, if you emulated this game, you're taking money out of Miyamoto's mouth. Hey, I mean, that's not happening. I'm sorry.
Those royalties, man.
It's not happening. Like, yeah, Miyamoto's making money, but it's not like, oh my God, like every time you emulate a game, Miyamoto loses a meal and there's like a tear down his eye or some shit. Like, like every time you pirate a game from Nintendo, like Kimishima, another hair falls out of Kimishima's head. Like, that's not what's going on here. Okay, people, calm down. Reggie gains another pound. Okay, that's.
I would say, someone cue the cue the sad violin.
Sad Ben Affleck. Sad Ben Affleck. Every time you pirate a game from Nintendo, someone's forced to watch Batman v Superman, and Ben Affleck's not happy about that.
Oh, you will not let that go, man.
No, I won't, because look, listen. If I hadn't had to watch that shit 4 times, I probably wouldn't hate it as much. But 4 times, God.
And I'd probably watch it 4 times and enjoy it too.
4 times was one time was too much. Okay, for me. One time, like, a friend of mine came to my house yesterday, and he was like, "Hey man, hey man, I got the extended cut of Batman v Superman. You want to watch it?" Like, fuck no.
That was the 4th time. Okay.
fuck no. That would have been the 5th time, but I said fuck no.
Oh.
No, look, I would rather have a hot needle stuck in my eye than watch that movie again.
All right, so
back to emulation. Yeah, back to emulation.
Yeah. I would say anytime if I visit you in the closest area, I should stay away if I ever have that DVD with me.
If you have that DVD, you might just have to go. So I'm like, look, I'm not saying anything bad might happen to you. I'm just saying you might have to go do something else for a little bit.
Right.
You might, I don't know if you can, because now you want to sit down and watch Ant-Man or Guardians of the Galaxy or
which I just recently watched Ant-Man and it was quite enjoyable.
Yeah. Batman Returns, Tim Burton's Batman. I'm good with that.
Oh, yeah.
Superman 2, perfect. Anything that has Zack Snyder, David Goyer, or Hans Zimmer involved with it from DC, just keep it away from me.
Understandable.
I'm like a cobra and a mongoose. We do not mix when it comes to these two things. But I digress. I guess it's time to move on to the end of Retro Gaming Forum. Any other questions before we move on to the end?
Let's see. I forgot to ask this. Now, like I said before, I'm the kind of person who would like to acquire the complete package. But have you ever been in this situation or heard stories that some sellers will actually sell you the game, saying that it's in complete package with the whole packaging, the instruction booklet, and it's the real deal.
What, sell you a quarter of a game?
And they would sell you a repo version without telling you.
Yeah, I've heard of people doing that, and that's one of the reasons I don't like repros. That's
Okay.
one of the reasons why someone's like, "Hey, man, I got a repro." But, well, I mean, you have to know how repros are made. Someone takes a perfectly good cartridge and opens it up, rips out the guts, puts a reproduced ROM board in there.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called repro, of reproduced ROM board. So a brand new thing. And they put a repro label on it, a reproduced label, and they sell it. Like, unscrupulous people, instead of telling you this is a repro, they'll tell you it's the real deal. And that is shady, and that's really effed up, actually. It's not good.
How about the kind that they would actually sell you the real game, but the refurbished packaging, and actually sell you it in the price that you would get ordinarily if it's a complete package?
Well, I mean, if it's refurbished packaging, for me personally, that's not an issue. Some people might think that is, but for me, I've never really cared, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not that much of a purist when it comes to retro gaming. Like, I'm not like, this isn't the packaging from the original, unless it's like blatantly terrible packaging. Because I have seen that where, like, someone tried to sell me a Zardian complete in box, and Zardian is basically like, how can I describe this game? It's a it's an RPG mixed with a shooter mixed with a mech game. And
Okay.
it's actually really fun, but it's got some awesome artwork in the booklet. But every time I've played it, like every time I've seen it, like I have the original cartridge, but I don't have the booklet or the manual. So I was like, look, man, I'll buy it again just because, I like Zardian. And the guy was like, yeah, this is a repro, this is a repro booklet and box. I was like, I don't want it. Because when I looked at the manual, it was just some black and white bullshit. And I've seen the original manual. It was in color.
Oh gosh,
Yeah, it was in color, and it was like, I'm like, dude, come on, man, don't bullshit a bullshitter. I always like saying that. Don't bullshit a bullshitter. No.
And they would actually sell it to you at full price, like it's the original box and everything. Nah.
Well, I mean, if you tell me that it's a repro, at least I know. I mean, I don't own any repros. Like, no reproduction, anything in my collection. The only reason I don't own repros is because, for me, every time because I know how repros are made, every time you create a repro, you have to destroy, like, an original cartridge is destroyed, but they aren't making any more cartridges. So you've basically raised the price of every other cartridge in existence every time you buy a repro, because they don't really they aren't making new cartridges, really. I mean, yeah, there's some people that, like, will sell you, I mean, there are some outfits that will create new carts, but it's like a small scale homebrew shit. Like, one of the newest homebrew NES games that came out, they made cartridges, but from scratch. But they had to go to Nintendo and license out the shells and license out the hardware and the software. Like, like, there's a lot of shit involved, and most people who sell shit and do repros ain't gonna do that. So, I've always kind of I stay away from repros. It's just,
now, how about if a person actually only has doesn't have the shell of the cartridge, but they do have the circuit board of the cartridge.
Would it mean when they do a repro?
Yes.
Yeah, they take all the insides out. They just want the shell.
Yeah, because I had. Oh God, it's such a heartbreaker. But I had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, and I could I couldn't salvage the shell because that was broken to pieces. But I actually did save the circuit board.
Okay.
And,
Well, you might be able to get a blank shell because they have them.
oh, sweet.
Yeah, they have blank shells and they have NES adapters where you can just like it's like a thing that you can put the blank thing in and it'll do cool. Like it's like you can put it in your NES. You have a top loader or the front loader?
I got the top loader.
Oh, okay. Oh shit. Yeah. the top loader has heat issues, so I'm not surprised you burnt your AC thing because the top loader has major heat issues. I used to love the top loader, but
Yeah, the reason why the adapter of that one burned is because I literally played that game for 2 days straight. So yeah.
yeah, it has heating issues. Whatever. My favorite. For me, the only console that's ever been difficult to collect for, just because trying to find bits and pieces for it, was, believe it or not, the hardest console I've ever had to collect for was my TurboGrafx 16.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it's hard to collect for just because like it wasn't really popular in the area I was in. So I would this is before eBay. This is before eBay. Like I had a PC Engine, but this is like I bought it and it came with like 4 games when I bought it, like at a swap meet for like $80, and it came with 4 games and the games were good. It came with Kid Rocket or Rainbow Kid or some shit like that. Magic Axe, Bonk, and R-Type.
Oh,
and those are good games. I mean, the TGS is one of those systems that if you like weird platformers and if you like the PC Engine is one of those systems that if you like weird platformers and shooters, shoot 'em ups and cute 'em ups, it's your best friend. If you want anything with any other depth, you're SOL because they got nothing else.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Because Nintendo had a stranglehold on everything else, and Sega got the crumbs, and there was nothing left for the TurboGrafx. It's kind of sad.
Unless they have to make their own stuff, which
they did. Yeah, they made Bonk, which was, I mean, Bonk is a very interesting game. It's not terrible, but as a platformer, it's kind of like
average.
Well, as a like Bonk is one of the lost 16-bit platform mascots because Bonk is not bad, but it's not Mario or Sonic. Okay, like here's the thing, like Bonk barely breaks Bonk is barely one of the top like 5 16-bit mascots. Like he barely gets in the top 5. Like if Mario's number 1 and Sonic is number 2 and Earthworm Jim is no. Mario, Sonic, Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Country, Earthworm Jim, and then you get like a tie between Bonk and Rocket Raccoon, or sorry, not Rocket Raccoon, Rocket Possum. Rocket Possum. Like it's like a tie between him and Rocket Possum. Rocket Possum is an awesome game, but as a platformer, it was kind of like as a platformer, it wasn't as great as it could have been. As an interesting side scroller, good. As a straight up platformer, it was like this isn't really a platformer.
Yes,
not really.
I guess the developers didn't design the platforming aspect for the character's strength, but yeah.
I'm just saying, like I kind of have never really been a huge fan of those types of titles. Sorry. I know people are gonna get mad. How dare you, Bonk? I love Bonk. Look, listen. I'm not saying I don't like Bonk. I have a lot of Bonk games. I have the Bonk games on the NES. I mean, on the SNES. I have the Bonk games on the TurboGrafx. I even have Air Zonk, which is basically a Bonk knockoff.
Oh yeah.
Kind of.
That's
It's
a
actually kind of fun. It's a cute 'em up. It's a shoot 'em up. It's a cute 'em up, and it's actually kind of fun. But
I thought it was a sequel to the Bonk games, made by the same developers.
well, they call it a sequel, but it's like a cute 'em up. Like it's like a spinoff because it's Bonk in the future. It's like Bonk from like 2070 or some shit. It's like Bonk has always been a caveman, so it's weird that you would make a Bonk in the future. And he's not called Bonk in the future. It's a dude named Zonk. He's distantly related to Bonk, except his name is Zonk, and it's kind of creepy. But yeah, I mean, Bonk has always been kind of like, I mean, for me, the TurboGrafx 16. Like, if you want like the best version of, AKA PC Engine, because it's the same console. I have a PC Engine Duo that has the CD and the cue card reader. So like I can play like the best version of Castlevania Rondo of Blood, Castlevania Chronicles, Street Fighter 2. Like the best version of Street Fighter 2 is on the PC Engine. Believe it or not.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, damn, I can't believe that it's the best damn version of this game. Yes, it really is the best damn version of the game. Most people will be surprised by that, but those people can go to hell. No, I'm joking.
Oh man.
I'm being facetious. Calm down, folks. I'm joking. I'm joking. Calm down. Oh man, I just broke through a bottleneck because the entire time I was doing this podcast, y'all, I was playing Tokyo Mirage Session.
Oh snap! How's it going with that game?
I did a side story that was for a level 42 party when I was level 30. Let's see, what level am I? My party's around a little over level like 38, 36, 37. Like they're in the upper 30s. And this boss before who I'd fought would wipe me out in one attack. And for some reason I was able to I bought some attack mirrors that basically block physical attacks, and I used them, and they saved my ass. And I managed to whittle those SOBs down and defeat them. That's called a gamer, folks. That's a gamer. But one final thing to say about retro gaming before we move on. Retro gaming is a fun hobby, but if you're trying to get into retro game collecting, don't get hung up on, like, this is just my advice. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just my advice. Don't get hung up on purity of, trying to get complete collections, because if you go for a complete physical thing, like, oh man, I must have the complete physical version of this title, you're gonna raise the price of your collection of you trying to get that game by quite a bit. Or you can bit and piece it, but bit and piecing it was really good like 10, 15 years ago. Now it's really hard to bit and piece a collection.
Now that you mentioned about that, how about like this? If you can actually, you cannot anticipate, but it just blows in your face. But I remember I was watching some of Pat the NES podcast with Ethan, and they were mentioning that there's times that the retro collecting actually has its high margins and low margins.
Yeah.
So you're basically your high and low seasons, and usually, or for the most part, you will not know when that would happen. But um, when it reaches that, but when it reaches to those to either of those extremities, I'm hearing that a lot of people
Start
just
selling.
start selling like crazy, like it's the end of the world, or vice versa. So, um,
Well, I mean, let me put it this way. The retro gaming market is like any other market where you have a finite good. Basically, the prices are never really going to go down to where they were when they were really, really low. Like 15 years ago, you could go and get 20 NES games. You could spend like $30 and get 10 NES games. Basically $2 a piece, and sometimes you'd find something really good. You could spend $40 and get 10 SNES games for like $40, and some of them would be really good. It's not like that anymore.
yeah, it's not. They're not going to go down in cheap.
No.
But
And even when they're doing sales, it's not going to be like, it's just not. It's not going to be like that anymore. Like when you could get games that were at that level, it's just not like that anymore. And I know some people will say, well, it could come back. I'm sorry, it's not coming back. even when they have a sale and the market gets flooded with new supply, the prices aren't going to go so down that it's going to be like it was 15 years ago. Now, will certain things go down? Like,
yes, it will go down.
they'll go down to where they're a little bit more affordable, but it's still not going to be like, it's kind of like how gas is, right? Like, I remember when gas where I was like 99, 95, 94, 93 cents when I first started driving. I was 16.
Man, you don't see that anymore.
I was 15 and a half. I got my driver's license and I did my driver's test and I could drive. And
At least you got your driver's license 3 years before I could.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's America. So I'm driving around and I'm like, man, yeah. And gas was like less than 99 cents. I could take $20. My tank would be at half a tank because the way my household and the way I am, my car gets half a tank. I fill it up. I could take $20, fill up my gas tank, have enough money left over to get a soda and some chips and still get change back and go back out to my car. I can't do that anymore. I can't do that. And it's like even if there's a windfall and the market gets flooded with supply, it's never going to go down to 99 cents. That's how it is with gaming. Like you're never going to see those prices again. Does that mean that the price will go down a little bit? Yeah, you might get a hit here and there, but it's not going to be like it was. And that's sad because I'm an old school gamer, and I mean I wish retro gaming was more accessible. Thank God we have things like the Virtual Console and
PlayStation Network.
Well, I would say the PlayStation Network, but it feels wrong playing SNES games on the PlayStation. I'm sorry. It feels wrong.
I thought I was a Puritan.
It's like, I mean, I have friends who like would get like they would get a PSP just to play N64 games and Dreamcast games. And I'm like, that shit feels wrong. It's like, it's like, you know what it feels like?
Well, I know exactly what you mean.
It feels like you took a pig, you cleaned it, you slaughtered it, you drained the blood out, you did everything you had to do, and then you brined it, and then you cooked it low and slow for like 48 hours over like 150-degree coals, and like it just lightly smoked for like 48 hours straight. And it was just fucking delicious. Like that smell, just mouth-watering, fall off the bone, just delicious. And then you took that meat, okay, and then you took it and you just like you took it and you put it on a pizza, and and then slathered it with nacho cheese, and blue cheese, and then put some bacon on it, and you're like, yeah, this is gonna be fucking delicious. No, you just ruined something that was perfect. The most you could have done with that is put it on a roll. Maybe put a simple barbecue sauce on it. Something simple. Maybe some brown sugar. Some maybe simmered in some beer with some tomato sauce and some other secret spices. Maybe slather a little bit. Maybe some of the drippings from the pig. Put into that barbecue sauce just to add some porkiness to it. I mean, nothing too radical. But you took it and put it on a pizza and slathered it with nacho cheese. What the hell's wrong with you? Like, that's how it feels. Like you just committed a sacrilege. It feels like sacrilege to use a PSP to use the Sony system to play an NES game. Like, that's why I didn't get Super Star Wars or Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back on my PS3. I could have done it. Didn't do it because it feels wrong. It's just.
You see, this is the reason why you're holding new gamers back.
I'm holding gaming back because I think people should play on the original hardware. I'm sorry. Forgive me for being a purist but I said this earlier. Retro gaming for me is where you try to play as close to the original hardware as the way it was meant to be played is humanly possible. Like Mario 64 was made for the N64. Playing it on anything else just feels
wrong.
It feels wrong. Like playing it on the Wii, playing on the Wii was okay. Playing it on the Wii U, it just does not feel right. I'm sorry.
But speaking about retro gaming and the original product itself, apparently GameStop is selling. Let's see. Original Game Boys, Game Boy Advance games, GameCubes, Dreamcast, and I think PS2 games.
That's cool. Although,
yeah.
I mean, I don't. For me, like I said, I don't consider 6th gen systems to be retro, but I mean.
Apparently, there's the GameStop, but
yeah, but I mean, this is GameStop, so I mean, that's not a ringing endorsement of quality.
I forgot. Even DS games too.
Yeah, like DS games aren't retro, man. Come on.
Yeah, they're not retro either.
And they've been selling DS and Game Boy Advance and Game Boy games because at my GameStop they have a case of those games, especially Pokemon. Oh my God, these bastards in Pokemon, ridiculous.
Well, I hope it's not those repo Pokemons, which
they could be because we all know that GameStop for some reason does not know how to
check their games.
Check their games. Yeah, they don't check their games. How many horror stories have we heard of people just, yeah, I bought this game and it doesn't even have the shit on it. What's wrong with you, buddy?
Oh, God.
I mean, that's some foul stuff to do to somebody. They go to buy a game and you sell them some shit that doesn't even have the stuff on it. That's just, that's nasty.
Yeah,
that's dirty. That's a dirty deed to do to somebody, and it's not cool. Taint proper and it taint right. I pulled my old man from the mountains voice right. That taint proper and it taint right.
Oh God,
we gonna have to feud with them idiots. They're gonna do some foulness like that. Go round up a posse, Billy Bob. We're gonna go take care of this GameStop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They have to suffer for sending somebody some garbage like that. Those bastards.
Yeah, you tell them, boss. You tell them.
But yeah, I mean, for me personally, that's just kind of like, because I mean, here's the thing: retro gaming is it's expensive. It's expensive to get into retro gaming. It's not cheap. And for someone to sit there and do some shit like that where they sell you a falsified product, that's foul, man. That's not cool. That's not cool, man. That's not cool. Like I said, it taint right and it taint proper. It just taint right. But you know how gaming is nowadays. People don't like to talk about these things because it's if you talk about these things too much, people get mad. So
get mad over bootlegs.
Well, I mean, I heard of a dude bought a Chrono Trigger and it turned out to be a Madden game. So
wow, no,
yeah. And GameStop was like, we have technicians that are looking out for these games. I'm like, so they couldn't be bothered to, and I can't believe I'm saying this, they couldn't be bothered to put the game in a console and play it for longer than 5 minutes? Because you can literally, like, if you put Chrono Trigger in a console for longer than 5 minutes, it is clearly whether or not, like, if you have an SNES, you can clearly tell if it's a SNES or what game it is in the first, like, not even 5 minutes, like a minute. You're like, oh, we couldn't put this shit in the thing for a minute, huh? That was apparently that was too much. I'm sorry. I don't really like GameStop. I shop there occasionally, but only for certain things.
Only when it's necessary.
Like only certain things will I buy at. Only certain devices will I buy at.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a what did I get from GameStop? I got my new 3DS at GameStop. I traded in because I had two 3DSs. I traded in one. I said, you know what? I got two of these. I have the OG original 3DS, and I'll trade in one, and I'll get the new 3DS because I got two and shit. And that was a pretty good. That was a pretty good day. That was a pretty good day. I got three. I have a lot of. I now still have two 3DSs. So.
Yeah, you.
Yeah. So I mean, but that was a really good deal because I traded it in and I paid $30 more and I got a new 3DS. I mean, that's a pretty good deal. $30, you get a new 3DS. You just trade in one of your old ones.
I should probably do that myself. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, GameStop. I don't like them. I don't like how they do business. So I very rarely go to GameStop, if ever. Like, I know some people swear by GameStop, but I'm like, I mostly do a lot of my stuff through Amazon, eBay, and when I do like electronic, when I do like stuff online, when I do stuff that's not online, I go through my mom and pop brick and mortar store because I can trust them. They have never screwed me over or tried to upsell me on some shit I wasn't interested in. And that's cool.
Right. So, do we have any questions?
Nope. No questions that I can see. No questions in the thing. And with that, I guess we're done. Anything you want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Well, I probably might have butchered the my topic about the whole outsourcing to China. I actually wish that Blyer was here to help us out, to give us insight if such thing is actually happening. But maybe I'll just talk about it when I'm in his car. So hopefully, I might drop that thing in there.
You
But
mean Liger?
yeah, in Liger's cars,
Yeah.
but um, I probably might stay quiet for a while now. But you can still check me out on Google Plus as my page by the same name, Triple M, and well, probably not with this avatar, but maybe I'll probably keep this avatar until next year, but or switch it up. But yeah, but this is Triple M, the wolf, and font is for game that forms into a fireball. That's hot, and also pops out in my artboard. Out artwork. My gosh, I'm slithering on my own words, but yeah. See you guys next time.
This is Mr. Red Fox. Stay tuned to another BS Busters coming next week, where we'll be discussing one of my personal favorite topics.
Which is?
We're going to talk about, it's BS Busters Hollywood Edition. We're going to talk about Star Trek and what they've been doing. Be prepared. It's going to get nerdy. The Trekkies are taking over next week. So look forward to that. We'll try and calm it down for people who have not watched a lot of Star Trek. We're not going to get too in depth. We'll go over a little bit of our history of Star Trek and how we like it, stuff like that. BS Busters is branching out a little bit. We're not only tackling the BS of gaming. We'll tackle a little bit of the pop culture, and that's where we're going with the Star Trek. So yeah, look forward to that next week. Same bat time, same bat place, and good night.
From infinity and beyond.
Our mission is to seek out new life and new civilizations and to boldly go where no man has gone before and find alien chicks and sleep with them. James T. Kirk.